Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. I'm Kat, the nurse flipper. I'm joined by Rod, my co-host, picking and punching. Both of the gentlemen below me, you should know, because they have both been on before. One of them was on a lot before. Mikey Bags of Money is beneath me. And then Kat, that sounded bad. He's on, whatever. He's not beneath. Okay. Mikey's under me. And that doesn't sound right either. I just am going to stop saying that. Okay, and Catty Corner, Julian, Bearded Thrift Machine. If you're newer to the channel, you might not know. Julian was a co-host for over 2 years here before we got Rod. So I'm going to let Mikey and Julian introduce themselves to you, and then we will get to your questions. So here is Mikey.
Hey, my name's Mikey. I got a channel, Mikey Bags of Money. I go thrifting, garage sales. I recently started buying storage units. I just bring everyone along, have a good time, like to have some laughs. I'm all about the experience. So I'm honored to be here once again. Thanks for having me, Kat. And
Perfect. Yeah, happy to have you here. Here is Julian.
Hey, my name's Julian. I got a YouTube channel called The Bearded Thrift Machine. I do the same thing, mostly garage sales, Goodwill. I sell on eBay full time with my wife.
And what's your second channel?
We have another channel called The Flip Squad, which then goes over all the solds. And then the bigger channel, The Bearded Thrift Machine, is just going to be finding the item. Because everybody thinks we find the item and then throw it in the trash. That's not true. We actually do sell some stuff, or at least try to.
Find it, toss it, leave
do something
it,
with it. Nobody
There's
knows.
a song about that.
I'll have to listen to it.
All right, let's see what we've got first. Cora wants to know, have any of us experienced Whatnot changing the bid price on you? I know most of us have probably bought on Whatnot as far as selling.
I have not experienced that, but I don't slide the button that often.
I have not either.
So if you're doing Southern Death, keep this in mind, and you go to slide, if someone has a custom bid already put in, it's going to bounce up. I was trying to buy a case of sports cards on there, and it was like $140. I'm like, oh, this is super cheap. That's 20 boxes of cards for $140. I swiped at the last second for that bid, and my total bill after taxes was $242. So I learned a very hard lesson that when you swipe on Southern Death, be careful because it's automatically going to place you in the next highest bid. If someone has a custom bid in there, you could get in trouble. So always, there's a custom tab that you guys can actually go in there and just type your bid in and to keep that from happening.
Yeah, and I think I was going to say that, as well as you can also outbid yourself. So beware. You can, if you keep sliding, you can outbid yourself on a bid. I have seen it from buyers. So be careful, because we can't go and change that back. Once it's done, it's done. But sudden death is, I've been in that position too, where it's the last second and it jumps like $30, $40, $50. So be very, very careful of that. And that's what I think. Yeah.
I'm on the fence. Sometimes I
think it's good if you have 2 or 3 people that, like on a seller's end. I'm not brave enough to try it because my people aren't used to it. I think you have to kind of get your audience used to sudden death.
Well,
I feel like.
Also, too, it depends on how many people have in there. Because if you have, say, like you're here at Tornado and you have 200, 300 people in there, sometimes if you go to run a show and you run like 50 items, it's going to take you all day because every time you place a bid in the last 10 seconds, it's going to add 10 seconds on. So a lot of bigger sellers have to use sudden death because they won't be able to get through their merchandise or their show. It just take way too long. So I guess it just varies.
Yeah, depending on what you're selling too, I guess would be a thing too. I thought, where did it go? I thought I highlighted this, but now I don't see it. Somebody asked how Honey was doing, and then I just saw somebody else ask how Honey was doing. So Honey the cat had his surgery on Sunday. He today finally started coming out probably 25% of the time. He's still sleeping a lot, so I'm sure he's not feeling well. And he's getting better, though. And he's acting exactly the same, which confirms our suspicions that he could not see at all before because now his eyes are sewn shut. So I'm expecting probably by the end of the weekend, we'll have the crazy blind cat back that we had before after he's healed up. The vet said about 3 to 4 days for swelling. So he's just been chilling, but he is doing good. All right. Trash Cat Rescue says, how do you like to store super fragile items until they sell?
Ooh, that's the one thing I don't like about super fragile items and glass items is you really can't stack it on top of each other. If you got a bunch of aces, you got to just put them on a shelf and spread them out. And you just got to do it the best way you can, however, whatever you got in your with your shelving or your space, really. Spread them apart, stack them close together the best you can and hope.
Yeah, I do the same thing. We have actually we just ran across a whole bunch of like really expensive ceramic things called Halt Howards, and we didn't know what they were. So
Are you serious?
Yeah, I had no idea what that was. This lady at the
that's like I have a Holt Howard listed for 700 right now.
Yeah, we got one listed for 400, and the lady's like, "This is a Halt Howard." We're like, "We don't know what that is, but we'll take it for $5." And so we bought a couple, and we actually prepackaged those. Usually, we never prepackage things, but with these, because they're one was a bobblehead, I was like, "No, this thing could bobble right off a shelf." So we actually prepackaged the really expensive ones, but other than that, we do the same thing. We just spread them out on a shelf and just don't hit the shelf.
Yeah, so I used to sell a lot of bobbleheads. I used to always wrap underneath the heads so they couldn't move and stuff like that. But I am a bull in the China shop. I know it might be hard to believe. The guy's former pro wrestler is a bull in the China shop. So if I get anything that's valuable, that's breakable, I will pre-package it. Only certain items there because my shelves in my garage are on wheels and they do slide out. So that way I have a library set up where they're all stacked next to each other. I just pull up my shelves to grab stuff on them, and I don't want stuff like that to fall off and break. So I will prepackage my glassware. Now, with that being said, I don't sell much glassware. That's part of the reason why too. So,
all right, I had to put this up here. So if you're like all of them and are bubble wrapping and prepackaging, don't watch my Shop the Sheds because you are going to see stuff teetering and stacked that's breakable. Some of it is really high dollar. We play Tetris with our breakables is what we do. And very, very, I won't say never. I won't say nothing is ever broken, but it is very, very rare. I like to do like the flat things like plates, and then I'll do a bowl, and then there might be a figurine inside of the bowl. We have a lot of breakables, and if we were to pre-package, I wouldn't have enough space. Even though I have a lot of space, we would not have a lot of space. So, but our shelves are sturdy, and as long as you're being careful when you're pulling things, you know, we're in Florida. We're not going to have a hurricane. They're not going to go shaking off the shelves. And the shelves are deep. And another thing that I know a lot of people like to do, display them. If you're buying stuff you like, get like a curio cabinet, put it in your house, put the higher end stuff in there. We have a display shelf in the shed. Again, if you've seen the Shop the Shed videos, you will have seen that. So the stuff I really like is on that. And then on my desk up here is like 30 Kachina dolls because I really like them. So all my Kachinas are on my desk shelf where I can see them. But I think so. LaDonna told everybody today in our Shop the Shed, she's like, Kat, you'll get like tons of free bubble wrap, which is true. But if you think I used a lot of bubble wrap, you should see what Prissy uses, which is who packed LaDonna's stuff. So my employee uses like twice as much bubble wrap as me. I know because I'm having to order it more frequently, but I would rather that than stuff be breaking. We use a lot. I had a feedback that said I used too much bubble wrap. That's how much bubble wrap we use.
That's a compliment.
They were not happy with me. They were not happy. I'm like, well, like, do you want me to let it break? All right. Linda wants to know, do you leave tags and labels with the price on new items if it's lower than your list price? So she received a lot of 50 wholesale price pre-printed on box, and then a bag of new clothes with raw sale tags that are lower than my list price.
Well, usually if it's like new clothing and it's like really marked down sale price or something, I don't really want them to see that I got it for $3 or someone got it for $3 and it originally went for $85. However, if it's something like vintage from like 20, 25, 30, 40 years ago, and it's got a price of 10, 20, whatever the price is, I tend to just leave it there because the price is going to go up most likely anyways, just because it's old.
That was an incredibly good answer because I had the same exact one.
Yeah.
Usually I'll remove it if it can be removed, like if it's from Ross's and it's $1. Well, no, that's getting removed somehow. But if it's like a vintage piece or something, I keep that on there 100%. Like we just have one, it was a hat. It was sold back in like the 80s for like $3. That's going to be kept on there. But if it was sold for $3 yesterday, no. But I also don't go out of my way to like remove a whole bunch of stuff either. Like I'm not like if it's like we had yard sale stuff, somebody wrote the price on there on the box, like the shoe box. It is what it is at that point. I'm gonna sell you the shoe box with the $5 price tag. I'm just not gonna take a picture of it on eBay.
So I think it comes down to platforms that you're selling on. I agree with both those answers, especially with like vintage stuff. I always keep the tags on because there's actually a group of collectors out there that will actually collect items from like KB Toys, stuff that has Blockbuster tags on it, Toys R Us tags on it. It can actually increase the value because, and also, especially if you're dealing with like something that's sealed and you get graded, a lot of those do help give it authentication in a way as well. Now, on the reverse side, though, when you guys talk about like newer items, depending on the platform I'm selling on. So if I'm going to like sell it on eBay and the tag saying like, you know, mark down the $5 or something like that, and I'm going to put up for 20, I'm going to remove that tag. But if this is say if it has a tag on it, brand new tag for $20, and I'm going to put it on Whatnot instead of $1, I'm going to leave that tag on because the perception is they're going to get more value because that item, I know that item might only sell for $5 or $10. They're going to get great value out of it. So why take it off? So they can actually see kind of the retail in it. So I think it really comes down to platform you sell and your selling approach to it.
Yeah, I agree with everybody. Most of the Ross you can clip off just the Ross tag and leave the brand tag on. So I would definitely do that with the Ross tags. The Ross tags are gone. And I've sold quite a few things, not a ton. And then the 50 wholesale pre-printed on the box, those we use a heat gun. If there's stickers, I'm going to use a heat gun and peel that off like we do that with Walmart clearance stickers. But if it's 50 of the same thing, we just remove it off one and then we remove it as they sell. So we're not going to take the time to remove all 50. We're going to remove one, take photos, and then we know we have to remove the stickers when they sell because I just don't want to do it all at the same time. That is the big thing. All right. Los Angeles Thrifter wants to know how many active listings do we have?
Ooh, I am a little below 800 and slacking. That's on eBay.
1525.
I have 1,200 in my store, but I would like to get down to like 800-ish, 800 to 1,000. So I like to reduce my store because a lot of those items are old and
Cat 6,254,901.
I said that too. We're going in the wrong direction.
look, I'll be back next week. Just let me go count.
I have 7,824 active listings, and some of those are multi-quantity. So actually, item-wise, I have 9,014 items listed on eBay. A lot. We are trying to lessen it. We did a shop the shed again today on knickknacks, and so now, and I think I'm going to do this with my auction hauls. We had the auction haul back here. We still have some. We're going to be doing that the rest on Whatnot. We sold them before they're listed. Like that's even like they don't even get listed. So I might do my auction hauls as part of Shop the Shed. And that'll help decrease a little bit. So yeah, I would like my store to be less and a faster sell through. But we're listing like 200 a week and I have a buying problem. So yeah, you know, I'm going to have to start being careful though, because I really don't want to go over that $10,000 mark. I don't want to have to go up to the next level. So we might do a Whatnot blowout if we get close to that point and get rid of some stuff. Valerie wants to know, would you ever list an item for a firm price and not apply best offer?
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes I do that. And then if they watch it, you can always send them an offer instead of them sending you an offer.
I usually apply best offer, but if it's something like ridiculous, I'll usually have like a minimum amount where I don't want to deal with their nonsense, where I'll put in like whatever it is, like the hot tower for like 400. I'll take 300 for that, but I ain't taking $1. I'm not taking 100. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I do that, but most of my stuff, I can always just decline it and then, or shoot an offer back to you. So I'm pretty lenient when it comes to best offers.
I put a best offer in everything because it opens up the line of communication. If someone lowballs me, I send them a message, hey, I'm willing to work with you. I just can't go that low. And think about it. When we go to yard sales, you try to get the lowest price sometimes. So you may lowball somebody and then you're willing to come up and pay back for something. You're just trying to test the waters. Why can't people do that on eBay as well? So that's why we always put best offer on. Keep the line of communication open. If you got an interested buyer, I mean, it's better for them to send you a lowball than not make any attempt to try to buy it. Because you never know what kind of deal you could work out.
Yeah, so I have best offer on everything because really depending on you never know how long it's going to be listed either. Like, what if you have it a year? Like, do you want to keep holding on to it? I will tell you though, as a buyer, and yesterday I went on a buying spree on eBay. I know I just like them. And then I wait for like 12 hours to 24 because I want to see, and a lot of those did not have offer. And the ones that sent me offer are the ones I bought. I just want to tell you guys that. I listen. So we went to the Tampa Bay Rays game. Nike, the kid's jersey is $110. I could not do it. I could not do that. I'm like, no, we're just going to get something off of eBay or Poshmark. I did get him the hat because that was $28. I can stomach $28. I could not stomach $110 for a jersey he'll grow out of very fast. So I went shopping for Tampa Bay Rays gear for Dalton and me. And I bought like 5. And all of them were ones that people sent me offers. So as a buyer, even if you don't turn it on, I would advise sending offers, I guess is my point of saying that from a buyer's perspective. All right. Miss Laura says, I'm new to selling on eBay. Can you explain international shipping? Do the buyers only pay shipping to the eBay hub?
Ooh, I am not an international shipping expert, so I'll just pass it right on over to Julian.
That's not very nice. You're supposed to give me time to think about stuff. See, I will do what I say what I do. We still use the international shipping through eBay. So it all depends on how that's set up. If you have like flat rate shipping, it's going to be whatever it is, the flat rate to the hub. If you're free, it'll be to that. If it's calculated, it's to that. And then they handle the rest of it. So it would be, do the buyers pay only shipping to the eBay hub?
It depends on how you set it up.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah. Because you're not paying the shipping to wherever when it gets in the container and when it gets shipped to their country. So the buyer is. Yeah, the buyer is. The seller's not. Yeah, so it's whatever you have set up to the hub is how that works out. It's like if you ship something to the next county, basically, and then they handle it from there.
So if you ever see the notification when it pops up, sometimes if you see it quick enough, you can actually see what the buyer pays. And the shipping charge sometimes is astronomical. The reason for that is they're combining the buyer's technically paying 2 shipping charges, paying one for the domestic charge in the US. Once it gets to the shipping hub, and then they charge them an international fee. But when the buyer gets their original purchase, it's one shipping price. Buyer's also paying custom fees and anything else they're doing, but eBay handles all that for you. So as a new seller on eBay, all you have to do is just, you want to make sure you're enrolled in the international shipping program. All you have to do is you ship it just like you ship all your other packages domestically. You ship it there, and eBay handles the rest. Even if that package gets lost, gets stuck in customs, eBay will handle that for you, and you don't have to worry about anything. Now, they will charge a buyer a lot higher fees, and a lot of smart buyers will reach out to you and ask if you'll ship it separate or do ship it or separate shipping for them. I wouldn't recommend it, especially being new. Just say, hey, I only ship internationally through the international shipping program, and you'll be fine. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah. So, Patty, the seller only pays to the hub if the seller does free shipping. That is the only reason a seller would pay to the hub. Otherwise, the buyer is paying. Yeah. So if you have calculated shipping, what you would pay if you did free would be to the hub. But if you do calculated, the buyer is paying both parts, plus all of the astronomical crazy fees. And some countries are higher than others. I don't know why. Like Australia is very, very high. I know we just shipped 2 teacups to Australia. It was like over $100 for the teacups to go.
So each country has a separate import fee, and they can be a lot higher depending on their relationship with the U.S. and depending where you ship items to. So every country has their own rules and regulations. Like, for example, a lot of people can't ship to Germany unless you're enrolled in their like Germany shipping program or whatever it is. So
yeah, and they'll ask if we can change the price, and I love saying no, sorry, I use the eBay International shipping program. They fill it out. Like, so there's no like I'm not telling you no, I'm telling you I'm not the one that's filling it out. Let's see. Susan wants to know suggestions, and we get this question almost every week. So if you source at garage sales, how do you keep track of your purchases?
Any way you want, and on your phone is usually the easiest. That's all I got. I don't really keep track of each individual purchase from the garage sales.
Yeah, I have a bookkeeper now, and then so we have an account basically set up because I'm terrible at numbers. And so anything comes out that's cash, I write a receipt, like hand receipt, or just tell her, hey, this was used for garage sales. She records that down as garage sale inventory buys, and then that's really how we do it. We don't do each and individual one because at garage sales we might spend $500 a day. We've been spending I think $1,200 a week right now at garage sales, just because there's so many. So it's amazing.
Can you guys hear Julian?
No,
I'm back.
Oh, you're back.
He's back.
Yeah. Back. It's a little touchy here. So it's yeah. So we have a bookkeeper. We just tell her, hey, this is how much we spent at garage sales for cash, and then she records it exactly how we say it. If you want to, you can write yourself a hand receipt, like, hey, I spent $450 today at a garage sale. Keep that, but it somehow has to be recorded for cash in and cash out. We only still do the cash method. We don't do the other method. So, but I will tell you this: having a bookkeeper and a full-time tax person, best money ever spent. And Kat actually told me way back in the day, said, get yourself a bookkeeper and a tax person. You won't regret it.
Love it.
Love it.
So first and foremost, none of us here are tax experts. So we're just telling you what we use personally in this. You know, when you do record it, you're supposed to put down like an address or something like that for tax purposes. But so what you can do is, I've used this in the past. I literally go to Walmart, go to Walgreens, pick up or order off Amazon. They literally have a receipt book. You just keep it in the console of your car and your glove compartment box. So you always have it in your car. You never forget it. And when you go to yard sales, I mean, technically you're supposed to write down every single yard sale you go to, but that's just going to be a pain. So what I would do is, if you went to a community with the 10 different yard sales, write down one address and said, hey, I spent $400. I got XYZ, and there's your receipt for the day. You know, so then that way you have everything covered. The reason why I say use a receipt book, because if you use just a piece of paper, use your phone, you may mistrack things. At least the book you can pick up if you give it to your accountant, or if you could do your own taxes. You literally have a book that has everything in order from start to finish for that year, what you have, and then you don't have to worry about it. But get an accountant, especially for your taxes, because don't step over $100 bills to pick up penny. You know, so you're going to save money from doing taxes when your accountant can save you thousands.
And Rod didn't say, the nice thing about being a YouTuber is we have video evidence of everything we buy. Yep. So we could be like, on this date. So I rarely spend cash, but like we went to Junk in the Trunk this past weekend. That was all cash. And I do the same thing Julian does. I just tell the accountant, hey, I pulled out that money, went and spent it. And I am perfect at like spending almost every single penny I pull out. Somehow I magically do that. I'm like, oh, look, I'm out of cash. And
I need more.
Yeah. I know we went to a yard sale on the way home from Junk in the Trunk, and we used a lot of cash at Junk in the Trunk. And I went, and it's funny because Brad had grabbed money I left on my nightstand, like $30. And I was like, why'd you take my money? He's like, watch, you're gonna thank me for taking your $30 later. Sure enough, I go to this yard sale, amazing finds. I'm short on cash, and I had to use $30. But yeah, so I will use every penny I have. All right. My flipping banker says, how do you keep up with all of the changes on each platform? I hear the frustrations, but curious how people stay on top of the changes.
It is hard to keep up with all the changes on the different platforms. I go to the wonderful people of YouTube and watch videos. I watch shows like this where you can learn where people are talking about it, and just keep your ear out. There's lots of people that talk about all the changes, the policy changes, and to stay on top of it, I'm definitely not the person. I like to learn. I'm not teaching, so I just keep your ear out, I guess.
I'm the same way. Something could change in eBay, and I'd be the last one to know about it, only because I've seen it on like YouTube, like titles, not even videos, like titles, like they changed this. And after like the fifth one, I'll be like, let me click on that because this seems like something's going on that I should know about. So that's how but I really, honestly, I don't pay a bit of attention. Like I am such in this thing that back, you know what I'm saying? Like we have a routine, and they could change something, and something is going to have to hit me in the face from the computer to actually pay attention to it. And but some things do, like some things will be such a big change that like 5 or 6 YouTubers will immediately start making a video about it. I'll catch the 5th or 6th YouTuber that does it. So that's how I do it. I don't pay attention too much when it comes to that. I don't even think about it. There's so much more to think about up here than like what has changed or something. And or I will figure it out when that change has affected me personally on eBay or whatnot, because we only sell on 2 platforms right now. So, but honestly, I don't really get frustrated either, because so much more is going on than those types of little like changes, because it's not huge. Whatever it's going to be, you can always work around it.
I mean, the key point to reselling is adapt and change. If you to be successful in this industry, you always have to adapt and change. But I think now it's a lot easier than it ever was before, because, like, if you eBay sends you an email anytime they change anything. If you go into your My eBay, literally in the bottom in the left hand side, they have a whole feed just with upcoming news and stuff like that. I also use stuff pops up my news feed on Instagram or on YouTube anytime there's a change for Macari or Poshmark or eBay. But I mean, if your main focus is eBay, focus on the eBay. That's really all you got to do. But I always look at, like, this is my full-time business. If my full-time business was trading stocks, I'm going to follow all the stock news, what's going on and like that. So you kind of have to, if this is your business, that's almost your responsibility to keep up with a lot of that stuff. Just, I would say, find some people on YouTube that may follow, just focus on news, or maybe, on Instagram that do that every time they post something up or news related, you can always see it. So you have a go-to to go to. So that I would always recommend find someone as your go-to for news, check in there once or twice a week, and then just focus on your business.
I'm like Julian, and I'm oblivious to what the heck's going on. And I find out here because you guys tell me, and then I'm like, oh, I should research that. Typically, like a lot of the changes, like the Mercari fees, same thing as Julian. When I see all these YouTubers popping up talking about like the same thing, and you guys will ask me, you will see it somewhere else, and you'll be like, Kat, what do you think about this? And I'm like, huh? And I have to go research it, and then I figure out what's going on. But like on eBay, changes a lot of time are like the search algorithm when they're changing fees, things like that. And I kind of overestimate fees on eBay. So when it comes to fees, I'm overestimating anyways. So I'm kind of oblivious to what's going on. And I definitely am not stressing and searching every day to see what the hell's going on. Excuse my language, but I'm not.
Also, too, though, when they do make these changes, they let you know like weeks or months in advance that these are coming up. And, most of the time, like, hey, the latest one, the eBay is going to be changing us. If you have calculated shipping, they're going to give the buyer the discount.
Oh, the discount.
Yeah, we've known this now for weeks now leading up to this. So
still caught me off guard the other day. I just watched Kevin, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
I opted out.
Yeah, but I mean, now leading up to it, so.
And I think, when does that start? Like May 10th, I think? It's coming up.
May 15th?
This week.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah.
All right. Susan wants to know if any of us have made an order. Then when you pay on eBay, your address is wrong. So answer in the chat, too.
Has anyone had to make an order When you pay on eBay, your address, like as the buyer, and your address is wrong.
I think they mean that. Yeah.
Yeah, just a disclaimer.
As the seller, go ahead.
That's a glitch. I was gonna say that was a glitch that was recently happening. So just give you a heads up if you didn't know.
Yeah, message the seller and ask them to ship it to you. I mean, people message me occasionally, and sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. But I mean, that's all you can do at that point, or cancel the order. But definitely message.
I agree with that. Yeah, there was like a glitch because we had two that was really weird on Pirate Ship. Because we use Pirate Ship, we actually don't buy anything on eBay anymore, and they even messed up. Something was really weird there. But I agree with Mike here that I would also sometimes I change the address and sometimes I don't. We had a $190 sale and I did not change that address. They were like, "Hey, can you ship it to this address?" It was the same state, almost the same county, and I was like, "This is like a super rare golf club. It's taken me. I've never seen one." As if I lose this in shipping because you want me to change the address, it's not going to work out. So they actually told me to send it to the other address that was on eBay. So I got confused why they. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, sometimes I'll change it, sometimes I don't. But I've never bought anything on eBay that it was my address was wrong.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, there was a glitch that was happening. I think they fixed it now. But yeah, that was a glitch. And buyers message me, and I always tell people just use common sense. Like if Joe from Idaho is trying to, ship something from like 2 towns over, more likely he just forgot to change his shipping address because, he maybe is just a part-time buyer on eBay. But if Joe from Idaho buys it and then he wants me to send it to like Sri Lanka, some other, weird long name going to a foreign country, more than likely that's probably some type of scam or someone going to hack. So use your common sense when it comes to that. And if you have any questions, contact eBay first, and then you will have a written transcript of them telling you, yes, it's okay to change the address. If you have any type of concerns, then that way, if anything would come up, then you say, hey, I approve. This was told me by eBay. Here's a written transcript, and then you can go from there.
Yeah, and I had a few buyers. I guess it was when the glitch was going on that they told me their address was wrong. And then eBay was randomly canceling orders too. Like there was a little bit of a wonkiness there. So I don't think that I think it's fixed. My flipping banker sent a $20 super chat and said, "Thank you all for your expertise and answers. I'm looking forward to finally retiring and being part of the community in August. Cannot come soon enough." That is soon. That is, time flies. I'm like, Dalton's graduating kindergarten in 3 weeks. Like, how is this even possible? It's absolutely crazy. Like, I feel like you just learned how to walk the other day. So absolutely crazy. All right, here is a dolphin. Dun, 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 dun. You got to dance.
It's a dolphin dance. I feel like a dolphin when I do that.
Like you're in the water.
Like I'm in the water swimming.
Wiggling.
With no arms? Well, I guess not.
Unique Ventique said they got their first return. The problem is it is a 10-pound jewelry craft lot. The buyer sent pics of items that were not mine that are total junk. I deliberately put in 3 rhinestone and crystal necklaces. eBay's saying to file a fraudulent return. Any advice?
Ooh, well, first of all, that's a bummer that happened. That's for sure. I've never really had that one happen to me. They always send me what's coming. So I've been fortunate in that regard. I've heard it happen to lots of people, but if eBay says to file a claim, it sounds like that's the route you're going to have to take. Has that ever happened to you, Julian?
It is, and you're not going to probably like my answer. Nobody is. I just let it go. I ain't going to lie. We had 2 times somebody sent back, not the same person. They sent back, it was low dollar stuff, so I wasn't too terribly concerned about it, and it was going to take me more time to deal with it than it was actually worth. If this is some high dollar stuff, I would be talking to eBay. Looks like maybe you already have and says file a fraudulent return. I would just go through the process of what eBay's telling you and go from there. I've had stuff, it was like a wallet, and they sent back wallet chains instead. And Caleb, I was going to throw them away. I was like, whatever. And then just get price of doing business. Sometimes on eBay, it doesn't happen a lot. I've had a ton of sales, and this has only happened twice to me, so it's not that many. And then Caleb was like, nah, sell the chains. So we actually then split the chains up, sold them individually, made more money than the wallet. So we're like,
Take that.
joke's on you, buddy, sending me wrong stuff. But so I would do, if it is like, if you want to go through the time and effort in this, just do exactly what eBay tells you and then go from there. That's my advice.
So I would say I've had this happen a couple of times in the past, and I use it as a learning experience because, like, for example, when I used to sell video games, I never used to take the picture of the bottom of the disc. And then people would file a claim on me, say, "Hey, this is scratched up. I have a disc cleaner. I would literally clean my own disc." So the thing was like perfect when I was sending it. So because of that, I learned I had to start taking pictures of the bottom of the disc, because in that way people can't swap them out. If they did try to swap them out, I had proof that the scratches on the disc didn't match up to the pictures I did, so which is good. If you're selling giant lots of that, you may have to lay it out, take multiple photos first now going forward, so this doesn't happen to you again in the future. So I always look at these. I try to look at the glass half full and half empty. Look at the learning experience, what you can do in the future to avoid situations like this. And unfortunately, hopefully you have the rhinestones and the crystal in the actual picture, because if you do, then you do have a good defense when you do get the items back. Unfortunately, it's cost of doing business. You're going to run into these problems. I will tell you, I've been selling eBay for over 20, almost 25 years now, and I can probably count like two hands of how many times I run into issues like this. So for all the newbies out there, don't get discouraged. You hear a lot about scams and people doing this. These are few and far between, and they usually target a lot of times newer sellers on there. But yeah, sometimes I just eat it. Other times I'll fight it depending on how expensive the item is.
Yeah, so for me, if this happened, I'm like Julian, if it's lower end, I'm probably going to say whatever. But as a top rated seller, I can deduct 50% from their return. And I would do that. If it was bad, then I would file the claim with eBay to give me the other 50% of it, because you can do that. But if it's low dollar, I'm just going to deduct the 50% and move on, because I'll get half my money back. We actually have something coming back that we are 99% sure the buyer ripped, because we had a lot of pictures of it, and they're like, "Oh, you didn't show this." And I'm like, "Oh, that's because it wasn't there. Please send it back." And when they send it back, I'm going to deduct the 50%, and I will ask eBay for the other half back, because it's like an 8-inch rip. There's no way you would not see an 8-inch rip in pictures. But I need them to get it back. And I almost think they were trying to get a partial, because they never responded after I told them that. That's the funny thing. I'm like, "Oh, send it back," Now, I had somebody else that opened a new item and it was scratched, and like, we didn't open the boxes. We assumed they were new. So like that buyer, I'm like, "Hey, what refund do you think is fair?" But that's me asking them. And they said, "Oh, $7." I'm like, "Okay, like that's less than I'm going to pay for the thing to ship back to me." And I gave it to them. But like, if they're the ones hitting around, that's when I would. This is another return question. Richard said a buyer's claiming I sent the wrong DVD and wants a refund. Should I tell them sure as soon as I receive tracking info that it's on the way back to me, or refund immediately?
What I would do is, if I knew I messed up and sent the wrong DVD and you're just doing a refund, it sounds like, probably just refund them immediately. It's not going to be all that much. But if you don't think it's the right DVD, or you sent the right one and they're just trying to return it on you, I would wait, because sometimes they don't return it and you don't have to return their money. That's always a good thing. But you could also offer them the right DVD and see if they want to do that.
That was another excellent answer.
I get lucky sometimes.
Yeah, that was a good one. I would do the same thing. Like, if I knew I sent them the wrong item, I would most likely probably send somebody else the other item, because I switch some things up sometimes. So I would be like, "Hey, here's a refund. Keep the item. My apologies. If I ever find the other one, I'll send it to you." Usually I don't, because somebody else is going to message me in about 30 minutes saying, "Hey, I got this item." And it's like, "Yeah, you did. I was waiting on this message." So, but if I sent them the wrong item, I immediately send them a refund and let them keep it. It's not, I don't know here if you
keep it. You got to let them keep it.
Yeah, I let them keep whatever I sent them. But if you think you sent them the right item, you're like, "No, I know I sent you this item," because maybe you didn't have a lot of DVDs going out that day or whatever. I'm getting that item back 100%. I sometimes will, if somebody's saying I did something wrong and I didn't, I'm going to want it back, and I don't refund them until I receive it back and everything is good. And then even if it's not good, I'm still going to refund it back, but you're taking the trip to the post office. Like, you're going to send something back to me that I'm going to open up in a couple of days. Be like Christmas. I don't know what I'm going to get, but if I messed up, you get the refund. You get to keep whatever I sent you. If it's not my fault, and you're like not lying, we won't say lying, but maybe you are, I want it back.
So anytime now, I know you guys all think I'm perfect, but I've done this a couple times in the past. All right.
No.
So first thing I do is anytime a buyer says, "Hey, they said you sent me the wrong DVD," I'm gonna ask them if they can send me a picture of what I sent, because right away I can tell because if they send me a picture, if I'm not listed in my store, because I keep all my DVDs and all my eBay inventory in a certain area. So if they send me a picture and that's not something listed in my store, I know. So I'm going to make the buyer go through the process of returning it to me so I can file a claim with eBay. If that buyer sends me a picture of a DVD, like I grabbed the wrong one from the box, right away I know, okay, I messed up. I will do the same thing you guys do. I'll tell them to keep the DVD. No sense returning it. I will just issue you a refund. And then I said I can always ship them the other one, because if it's a cheap DVD or something like that, I don't mind doing that. If I send an expensive DVD, like $100 DVD or something like that, I'm gonna have them ship it back and then tell them I'll ship the other one, refund the money for the item, and then ship the other DVD for free because I want that item back. But there's different ways to do it. There's no wrong or right reason. You just, at the end of the day, you want to make sure your customer is happy, and you don't want to get negative feedback in the situation. So do everything, go above and beyond for that customer at that time.
Ooh,
All right,
I got one key information is if you grabbed it from your inventory, you got to remember to take that wrong DVD that you sent out of your inventory. That one's clutch, because if you just don't even do anything, it's gone. Someone's going to buy that, and you're going to be like, uh-oh.
You'll be sending another one in its place. You'll go through the whole
have to do the old switcheroo hustle. Yep.
Sound like you're talking from experience there, Mikey.
Lots. I've got lots.
All right, I want to make a point, and I'm going to say this with any return. Whether it's a DVD or not. If you want the item back, never refund immediately and never refund until you get it back. So neither of your options would be correct. Because if you refund immediately, they then do not have to ship the item to you. I've had some people get upset. They're like, I gave them a refund right away and they didn't send it back. That's because if you read the fine print on eBay, if you refund them before they ship it, they are not required to ship it back. That is eBay's policy. That's on you. Never refund immediately unless you don't want it back. And then if it's on its way back, you don't know what's coming back to you. A DVD is typically going to be lower dollar. Of course, there are higher dollar. Me, I'm just going to refund them because my DVDs are almost all like $5 and $6. I'm not going to deal with it. But I agree with them saying you need a picture of what they sent, because there's a chance you sent the wrong one, and you would know if that DVD they're saying you sent was in your inventory. And Mikey's, you need to pull it out if it is. We had like the same brooch. One was blue enamel, one was black. Wrong one was sent. I had to take the one they got down because I couldn't let anybody buy it. I didn't have it in my possession anymore. So you've got to be careful. But if just know, if you give them a refund, they do not have to send that item back to you. You're not going to get it. So unless you don't want to get it, don't do that. All right. I cannot answer this, but I think the three guys have all bought storage units. So what are fees associated with storage unit? I know the cleaning fees back, if I'm not mistaken, but are there other fees associated with buying storage units?
Ooh, well, I recently started buying storage units. I got to say, it's a lot of fun. I started with my sister. She said she would help. And that was enough to get me to do my first one, and I've been hooked since. It's a lot of work, but it can be rewarding. Usually the fees with them, the auction, whatever auction site you use, they usually charge like a buyer's premium, sometimes a minimum, sometimes a percentage of the sale. And then you have to pay whatever you win the auction. And then all the little storage facilities are different on their cleaning deposit. Some are no deposit, some are 100, some are 200, some are more. But as long as you clean out your unit, you get your money back and you move on. I think that's really the only fees and stuff I know associated with them.
Yep, I've bought a couple in the past, and it's about exactly what you just said. And if you have another fee that you would think of down here in the South, like we don't have a trash recycling fee. Like some people that watch the videos, they're like, how much is it to drop all the trash off that you get? Well, down here, we're allowed to take 1 truckload to our local recycling place or trash place in the county, 1 truckload a day. So that's all you're allowed to do for that day. A lot of times we do buy the smaller storage units, or we do it over a period of time where we just have 1 truckload of trash. So that's free. But if you are in a state where like you have to pay, I didn't know that existed, but you have to pay to go to actually dump large quantities of trash, always remember that, because trash is expensive to get rid of sometimes. Like in some states, the people would message me, well, it cost me this much. I'm like, that's insane. Like you have to then think about that in your head. How am I going to get rid of all the trash that I'm going to get? Because guess what? In a storage unit, you're going to get some trash. You're going to get a lot of it, a lot more than you think. Like, because when you look at the little picture online, you're like, well, that's not that bad. I'm sure it's not going to be a truckload. Then the next thing you know, it's like 17 truckloads full. Like, how did I get here in my life? Like, this is ridiculous. But I like them. But they're the only fees I can actually think. That's all I got. I think that's it.
So with that being said, as you talk about trash, do not think you can outsmart the storage unit and say, I'm just leaving my trash behind and I don't want to pay I'll just let them take my deposit. Those places will ban you from buying storage units here in the future. So don't even think about doing that. I would say, if you have to take stuff to the dump, you're gonna have a dump fee. Trying to think what other fee. Oh, and also too is depending if you buy a big storage unit, like for example, you're buying like a 10 by 30 and it's jam packed with stuff. You have the option to rent that majority of the time, probably 95% of the time. You'll have the option to actually rent that storage unit. So that could be another fee. So if you buy a big storage unit, you can actually rent that storage unit for the next month or so if you need the extra time to get your items out, because a lot of storage units will give you anywhere from 48 to 72 hours to get your items out of the storage unit. But yeah, that's it. And then also labor, that'd be any other fees you may have. If you have to hire someone to come in, help you out, move stuff, run a truck, these are things that people don't think about when they do buy it. They don't have a truck to move stuff. They're making 20 trips with their car. You don't want to do that.
Trash.
Yeah, and I haven't done storage fees, but here in Florida we do have dump fees, and I know like appliances, like old fridges and stuff, are more than like regular trash. So we have probably an hour away, I think there are free like dump areas, like Julian was saying, where you can like separate it out. But a lot of them want you to show your ID that you live in that county.
Correct.
So like we don't live in that county. The 2 that I know are free are both in different counties. Our county charges, so it might be different upon your county, not just state too. So be careful.
Add to that too is sometimes with like refrigerators and a couple other like appliances, like depending on the state you live in, you have to have like the Freon removed for those before you can actually dump it or take it to certain places. So there's some. So be careful with the items that you're buying when it comes to like furniture. Be careful that there's not other restrictions that you may have in your county or your state just because of disposing those items.
Yeah. Snowberry Vintage wants to know if anyone is using the local pickup feature on Whatnot yet, and if so, are you using an alternate address? Was thinking of using a local post office address.
Ooh, I have not used the local pickup feature on Whatnot, and alternate address is always better than your real address. I would think so. Use the alternate.
I would agree. I don't know if I'm going to use that feature. Our whole basis is basically like online sales. And so I like to pack and ship things, like, because I can do it very quickly. We have a process. If I have to like start going and meeting a ton of people around town, I understand that we have a few viewers that live in the area. Like when I say a few, it's like a lot more than I ever would thought. So if I would be like, I'd have to get everybody in like one spot, or I'd have to like travel around for an entire day dropping things off. So I'm not 100% that I'm going to use that, but I would also then use my PO box rather than my actual address.
So I'm not selling big items on Whatnot. So I'm not selling big items. I don't want to meet people up because it's going to waste time from my day. I hate to say it, but it's true. Like if I have to spend 15 minutes of my day to go to meet at a gas station or meet at my PO box, that's 15 minutes there, 15 minutes back. And every time I try to meet someone for a local pickup, they're always running, oh, I'm sorry, I'm running a little late behind. So there's another 10, 15 minutes on top of it. It's not worth it if I'm selling $15, $20 items on Whatnot. Even on eBay, when people ask to do a local pickup, unless it's like a bigger item or a more expensive item, I just tell them, oh, I only ship because, I don't like meet people up in person. It's just not worth my time. I just learned. I've been burned numerous times. I wasted a lot of time because people are running late. So I would say be very careful if you're going to add that feature on there. I don't think it makes a big difference on whatnot, unless you're selling big items. If you're selling big items, then absolutely. But
I'm going to go against all of them. I just added it for my next show. And the reason being, I wish they had it available on Knickknacks. They don't. So we had somebody buy like a 18-inch vase and like all this breakable stuff. And she lived an hour away where Brooke, my daughter, goes to nursing school. And so I messaged her and I'm like, can I just send you a sticker and I will drop off all of the items you bought? And I'm talking a lot of breakables. And we did. My daughter hand delivered it to her porch. Perfect. Good transaction. And the funny, I'm laughing so much because I added my post office's address as our meeting place for Whatnot, because we go to the post office 5 days a week. So my terms on the Whatnot local pickup are to meet at the post office only Monday through Fridays. I will give them a time, and if they drive an hour and are not there on time, they can come the next day. We don't have a bunch of spare time, and it's my husband that does it. There aren't many people that are here local to me, but there are quite a few that live about an hour away. And I might not add it for the jewelry, though. I don't think I'll add it for the jewelry because that's super easy to ship. But I don't know, though, because my mother-in-law buys for me on Whatnot. So I might add it on the jewelry, too. But and for the reason, like, they're saying they're not doing big stuff, they're not doing fragile, doing Shop the Shed, that is the majority of what we are selling. It is larger, it is fragile, and if somebody wants to drive an hour here and pick it up, I will make Brad meet them at the post office. It will not be me. But because Brad goes to the post office 5 days a week. And we could adjust our time for somebody, like we could go between 2 and 5. So whatever time they got off work, but it would have to be business hours Monday through Friday. Like I'm not going to have any like weekend or evening pickup times. It's only business hours Monday through Friday. So we're trying it. We added it for the next one. I have to laugh. I wish I should have took a picture. Dalton's favorite thing to call us is a noob. That means you're like a newbie. Like I asked him and he said, it means I was not a pro. I said, what does that mean? He said, you're not a pro, Mom. I said, okay. He wrote it on his dry erase board on the fridge probably 2 hours ago. And it said, Mom is a noob on the fridge. So,
aren't we all?
So I got to give you Dalton. We'll give you Dalton since that's Dalton's favorite thing to say. It's funny you said that. Here you go. I thought that was the Hyatt's Dalton one. Now I got to figure out which one it is. And on eBay, I typically will only do it if it's a convenience for me. I will add that. So like I sold taxidermy deer heads. Yeah, you can come pick them up whatever day. And you want to pick them up at midnight on Monday? I will be here. And then I sold a Craftsman tool chest that somebody drove from Tampa 2 hours to pick up. More than happy to do that, then arrange freight for you. So on eBay, I will do it if it is more of a convenience for me than them. So, what is your experience using USPS blue boxes to mail packages? I'm assuming, do they mean, Rose, if you're still in here, do you mean like the letter blue boxes? That's the only thing I can think of, right?
Yeah, like the ones out on the street on the corner?
Oh, gotcha.
Possibly.
Yep.
Yeah. Man, I have great experiences with the post office. I don't use them. I take to the post office or I have the home pickup, but I mean, the post office is great. I don't think there would be any disadvantages to using them.
Yeah, we would only use them for like stamped items, but
I don't think they put packages in possibly.
I know you can for like
you
UPS.
Put poly bags, maybe.
Poly bags, yeah. But we don't really use them, but honestly, there's so many things that can get stolen in the world that I wouldn't even think about. That would be, as long as you shove it in there and it goes down. Listen, somebody could take that whole thing and run away with it if they really wanted to. Just break it off the you know what I'm saying? But we drop all of our stuff off at the back of the post office now, and somebody could go in there and steal it. Honestly, it's just sitting right there on the dock. But we don't really even think about it because there's criminals out there. They're going to steal stuff. We'll deal with it when it happens. But we've never had an issue with doing the drop boxes and with stamped items.
So a lot of people don't know this, and it depends on where you live. A lot of post offices actually they leave their front door open so that you can actually walk in if you have P.O. boxes. So they'll keep like their like side doors locked, but you can walk in, and a lot of them actually have a little slit that you can actually put that like folds down. You can actually put packages in there after hours. I know like there's like 2 or 3 post offices in the Tampa Bay area that does that. So I used to go drop off my packages after hours. I could put them in there, and they would literally, I could put small packages in there all the time. But I never had a problem with it. It just all comes down to where you live. So.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to agree. Where did it go? With Lynn. I want a thing scanned. What if you put it in the Dropbox and it's not scanned till the next day and then it's late going out? I want that scanned the same day.
Yeah, but if you're putting it in the Dropbox that's after hours, that's fine because it's going to get scanned. So you know to make
they'll get scanned the next day. But I mean, if you're doing it during the day, when the scan difference is from today to tomorrow and you have 1 day handling, you're going to be late. We do put packages in US or UPS drop boxes regularly if we have time. Or not if we have time, if they will fit. You have to listen, I've tried to shove stuff in those boxes that would not shove. And then I had to like wiggle them back out. I'm like, come on, go down. So I use the UPS ones frequently. I don't use the USPS one though. We typically have a lot more than would fit in one of those though.
I had a laugh at the one comment in the chat. Did you see the one about Dave?
Yeah, leave it in the mailbox.
No, don't leave it in the mailbox.
Don't put it by the recycling container.
So if you guys don't know, Dave put all of his packages. He did a whatnot, sold all his jewelry. Put the box next to his mailbox, and the recycling guys came and took it and dumped it in the truck. So
that's what Dave gets for trying to sell jewelry.
Yeah.
It's funny. I saw Dave and Tina this weekend at Junk in the Trunk. I ran into them. So yeah, that's funny. I was walking by him and he's asking how much, and the guy said 8. I'm like, no, charge him 20. I'm like screaming from the background. It was amusing. And Tina's like, he said we were leaving. Yeah, it was amusing. Kelly wants to know, do any of you sell or cross post to Ruby Lane, and why or why not?
Ooh, I do not cross post to Ruby Lane, but I think there's nothing wrong with cross posting. The more items you can get out there, the more chances they have to sell. And if you got stuff that people like to buy on Ruby Lane, I say go for it if you got the time.
I have no idea what that even is.
Ruby Lane is a vintage selling platform. And no, I do not sell on there. I actually don't know any one person that sells on Ruby Lane. How about you, Kat?
I do not. Like, if it's not in my cross posting app, it's not, I'm not going to do it. I've thought about Cherish because we are picking up some higher dollar items, and I think those might be worth the time to post on Cherish for higher end items. And Cherish will arrange freight for you, which I like. That's mostly interior designers using Cherish. I don't know anything about Ruby Lane. I know the name, and that's about it. I don't know anything else about Ruby Lane. Grandma Mary said she loves the Shop the Shed videos. So if you haven't seen them, guys, and I wonder if I can show it. Oh, Jesus, are you still here? Jesus, tell me if you're still here. So look, it's lined up back there. Do you see all the paperweights? It's lined up. And Prissy, I shouldn't have moved it. I knew it. You guys don't know how long it takes to get this thing right. Okay.
We're about ready to find out. Oh, that wasn't that bad.
No, it's still moving. Do you see it? It's still moving. If Jesus is still here, I'm going to move it again because he said he wanted to see my kachinas. Now I have to move. It's at a different angle. Anyways, I'll move. It's easier than moving the camera. So we have been doing the Shop the Shed. Prissy loves it. And I love it because I don't ship. I can tell you, if I were shipping, you would not be getting to shop my sheds. 110%, because that's why I've been so against selling bigger and fragile items on Whatnot, is because I didn't want to ship a large amount of breakable items. But Prissy loves it. And so I'm like, let's go. And Prissy's like, show him this 18-inch bowl. I'm like, okay, you want me to show it? Did I really? He was in third place when I looked. I got to go look now. This is a competition, Kevin, whether you know it or not, buddy. Let me look. Hold on, I'm checking. I'm beating Kevin. Yes, my life's goal has been accomplished. Earlier, he was in third and I was in fourth. Now I'm in third on knickknacks. Ha! It's the little things. Kevin doesn't care. Thank you for letting me know. I'm super happy about that. All right. Mark sent a $10 super chat for his late fee and said, All-Star Panel, should we give him Kevin or should we give him Rod?
Kevin.
What say you? Kevin?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's Kevin and his butt.
We need to have her redo that and put the "I'm Too Sexy" shirt song on. Like, I'm too sexy for my shoot.
Then I'll get demonetized.
That'll be well worth it.
I don't see Jesus here. I know Jesus in Spanish is Jesus. I don't know if Jesus says his name Jesus or Jesus. If he's here, he can tell us. But I haven't seen him answer. So I'm not going to move this camera again until he says he's here. Because then I'm going to be over here. I don't know. We'll figure. I will show my kachinas if he comes back. Ray wants to know, would you ship shoes or sneakers? When you ship shoes or sneakers, do you use a box or do you use a poly bag?
Ooh, I use a box almost all the time, unless it might be like a pair of sandals or something that's going to be less than a pound. But most of the time I go for a box, unless also they just buy it for real cheap and offer me a deal and I took it. And I'm just like, there's a cheap pair of shoes. It goes in a poly mailer, but never on a really good pair of shoes. Always a box.
Again, amazing answer. I have the exact same one. Most of the time it's going to be a box. We actually have a different box now that we use that mimics the size of the shoebox on USPS. But if it's like a pair of sandals or something that you really can't damage, like even if you stepped on it or something like that, it's going to go in not so much a poly bag, but we get those poly mailers. The bubble mailers. And then I'll stick them in there in like one float. Yeah, probably by a gyro pack or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, the big ones. Yeah, that's what those pink ones are.
That's what I use, is I'll slip them in there and pretty much good to go. But 98% of the time, I'm sending them in a box. Because if it's a pair of shoes I'm selling, I'm trying to usually probably get like $30 to $50 for them or more.
I feel like sometimes when these questions get asked, I have to stop and ask myself, I'm like, did you just buy something from me? So I always ship my shoes in boxes, except for this week. I ran out of the size of the box, so I shipped one pair of shoes. They were only like 20-something bucks, so that's why I shipped it. A pair of Nikes. I shipped them in a poly bag.
Did Ray get them?
What's that?
Did Ray buy them?
I don't know. I need to go back and look. I feel like I'm being targeted right now. All right, but I'm majority of the time, because when I sell shoes, I usually try to. I don't like to sell a lot of shoes, but when I do, I try to have a target price of like $40, some in that ballpark. Now, it doesn't always work out like that. I do have shoes listed less than that, but so I'm going to ship all my shoes in boxes, except for this week. I shipped one pair of shoes in a poly bag.
All right. And Jesus said, I say it, Jesus, I think if I understand what he just said right, and he is here, which means I'm going to have to fight with this camera again, but that's okay. So for me, shoes or sneakers is going to depend on two things. One is the type, like if there's slide or something that I feel like is not going to get misshapen, then it's probably going to go in a poly. Like it doesn't matter if it's smush. Tennis shoes, sneakers, I'm probably putting in a box unless they're kids. Now, we sold some Keens, kids sandals. Those went in a padded poly, just like Julian was saying. The second thing is the price. If they are over $50, I don't care what it is. It's going in a box. I literally don't care what it is. It's going in a box. $50 is my threshold. So, yeah, that's mine. All right, here we go. You guys can see my display shelf. There are all my Kachinas. There you go. I have a lot of them. I know they're, oh, it's not working. There. And there's amazing Kachina paintings in the background if you see them. So I have a lot of them. I love them. And then I have sand paintings there too. Sand paintings. Here we go. This is the fun part. I'm going to make you guys dizzy. Oh, look how close you are now. Is it zoomed in? No? Okay. Now what? Okay. Hold on. Okay, that's not bad. My monitor is sitting in a 45-degree angle right now, just letting you know. But that's okay. It's very awkward, but but the camera's right, so we're gonna roll with it for now. All right. Summertime Vintage says, now that we have had time to think about it, what is the panel doing as far as passing the discount? Are you passing the discount on the customers, or did you opt out of it?
Is this for calculated shipping?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do calculated shipping, so I didn't do anything. My specialty.
Actually, I don't know if I actually got that email. Did everybody get that email? But I listened to Kevin the other day, and he said not everybody got it. I never saw the emails or the opting out or opting in. Again, literally, I just learned about this like 10 hours ago. We are most likely switching to a large quantity of our stuff is going to be flat rate shipping for the buyer, especially when it comes to golf clubs, because they were overcharged. I mean, the charge on the golf clubs was super expensive for some reason. I can ship a golf club. I can do flat rate shipping at $12, outsell anybody else because of the flat rate shipping at $12. They're doing calculated or whatever. And because we still can ship a golf club $7 to $13. I just shipped one today. It was like $13.30 going to Washington State, which is the furthest it's going to go unless it goes to Alaska or Puerto Rico. So we're switching a good portion of our stuff to flat rate shipping, and we're not doing it just because of this. We were already getting involved in doing flat rate shipping probably like a couple months ago. Unless it's gigantic, then we're going to still do calculated, and then they can get the discount.
So I'm a lot like Julian there. I was actually in the process of going to be switching over from calculated shipping to flat rate. And part of the reason for that is I was selling designer boxes, empty designer boxes that would weigh like 3 to 4 pounds. And one of my main markets was California. And sometimes people would send me screenshots would be like $36, $28, like ridiculous. And then when I would go to ship, it would cost me like $14 to $16 to ship. So I know I'm losing out on potential buyers out there for these markets, just for the fact that the calculated shipping eBay was providing is astronomical sometimes, especially where my location, because I am in Florida. I am the farthest place on the East Coast that you can ship to the West Coast, unfortunately. So I was already in that process, and then anything bigger, I would use calculated shipping. The buyer would get a discount on that. But yeah, I'm actually going to be moving over to more of a flat rate business model going forward.
And I have ridiculously different size things, and my market a lot of times California. So we use calculated, and we are not going to be passing. I do want to say to those of you that didn't get the email, and I know they are rolling it out, I did not get the email, but one of you was kind enough to send me the link you got to opt out, and I clicked it, and I was able to opt out, which means I would have been opted in even though I didn't have that email. So I don't know if, Marcia, if you or any of my people with wrenches, if you have got that, can you put the link for people to opt out in the chat? One of you, if you can find it, to see, that way we can share it with them. All right. The Store 61 says, starting this weekend, I noticed when I use a search engine on eBay, the first listings coming up are foreign, like Canada, Australia. Do any of us know if there were any changes made?
Ooh, that's a very good question. Because sometimes when I'm looking up comps, it goes to like a different eBay. And as usual, I don't even have a clue why this is going on. Maybe the Masterful Rod will have some insight for us.
So I have been told that there's a search glitch going on with eBay. So I don't know if they're changing stuff, but I mean, they have been experiencing issues there for a while. Speaking about search, though, something I don't know if you guys noticed, just a public announcement. If you guys saw the selling announcements on May 7th, you can actually do product research. Former Terapeak is now available on your mobile phone. So you can actually use that. So when you guys are out, you know, Terapeak used to go back 3 years. So now you can only do it on a computer, but now for search, you can actually do that. Look for comps where you're out and about through your mobile phone. So figure it out. Go to your selling hub, and under the announcements, this is May 7th here. Click on that. You guys can read the article on there. But you guys should that's a tool that's very valuable for a lot of you guys. But other than go back to the original search here, all I know, there's been a glitch on eBay, and they've been trying to work with it. I've talked to one of the reps myself on the phone because I was dealing with this negative feedback issue, and I know they said that they have had some issues with their search.
Yeah, and oh man, my long link wouldn't work. Let me see if I can shorten it. Marsha put a link too. I'm gonna find a URL shortener, and I'm gonna get you guys that. So look how long it is. It went to another one. It's not gonna work. I have not, but when I'm buying, I choose US only in the search. And I think if you're researching, that's probably better to research the comps too. The only time I have not, like, I wanted a tablecloth, and I ended up buying a tablecloth from the UK because I was being all finicky. But typically I'm gonna put US only on almost all of my searches. And yeah, Julian, have you noticed anything with the
what they said, what you said, whatever?
that.
Yeah, no, I haven't noticed any changes.
All right, let's see.
Although I did notice that Terapeak thing about 3 years. I did see that the other day.
See, I need to check that out.
Yeah, I just put the link for everyone for the Terapeak announcement down below. It shows you guys how to use the search. So
there's a question. Rod, they want to know, do you still have your costumes or did you sell them?
So my wrestling gear, I still have my wrestling gear. My wrestling boots, I still have. I still have my wrestling tights. I have my entrance jacket. I do have my custom mask. I had 2 masks, but one of them broke, and I was involved in some match, and yeah, it was just something was wrong with it. It broke, but I have my original mask, and I have all that stuff still.
Perfect. Rose wants to know, how expensive is the label maker paper? I'm cost comparing versus black and white printer.
I'm not sure. I got a Rolo printer. I don't buy the Rolo paper. I use the other paper off Amazon, but I found like 5 rolls of labels that I've been using for a long time. So look for them in the thrift stores to save money, and you don't have to get the brand name. That's what I roll with.
Yeah, I have 2. Kat, I still have the Dymo that you gave me like 47,000 years ago. That still works. That does like the Dymo printer label though, and they are slightly more expensive, but they will go on sale on Amazon sometimes. So that's usually when we buy them. We'll keep an eye on them. We'll just buy a whole bunch, like 10 or 15 of them. But it is cheap. And if you go on Amazon or eBay, it usually has like a price per unit that you want to look at, like per the label. It's not that much. If you're going to be selling a lot, it will be beneficial to have a cheaper, like we have one that I got, I think it was like $90. I think now it's up to 120. I don't even know the name brand. It was on like Amazon. It still runs just as good as the Dymo does. Like, so I would say that if you're going to be printing a lot, the ink is almost going to be more money. Like it's not that much money for the sticker price. I think it's like, I want to say it's 1 cent, but I'm not 100% sure, or maybe 3.
So with the one that me and Kat use, you get 500 labels for $18.99, which comes out to 3.7 cents per label. So, and comparing that with the cost of ink, and then you pay, not only you're paying for ink, you're also paying for paper as well.
Mhm.
Even if you get the like refillable inks, at the end of the day, the thermal printer is so much easier because if you print on paper, then you have to factor in the amount of time that you're taking to cut out the paper and tape that on as well. So you're adding extra fees, you're adding extra time in there. Where a label printer, I'm literally printing off, taking off, smacking on, and it's gone. So if you're doing high volume, if you're selling a lot, thermal printer is the way to go. It's going to save you so much time. I used a regular printer for like 15, 20 years, well longer than I should have because I was just stubborn and didn't want to do it. When I started doing high volume or during Christmas time, cutting out 50, 60 labels and taping them on boxes is the biggest pain in the ass in the world. So I will tell you going forward, I highly recommend get a thermal. It will save you time. It will save, and it's smaller. It works 10 times better.
So I just shared the labels I use because I tried using the really cheap 4x6 labels and it was a disaster. It almost broke my printer eating them coming off of the labels because I tried to buy like 5,000 for some ridiculously cheap amount. I use Dasher labels. They are 4 cents. The ones that I use, they are really good quality. And then I also will pop up the Off Nova link that Rod and I use because that is a cheaper printer. Let's see how much it currently is, and I'll put that in there as well while I'm clicking links. It is currently $79.99. So if you want a lower cost thermal, here's the printer link. And there. So I put the labels and the printer. We have been using those labels for years. So when I got the cheaper printer, I didn't switch to the other labels. I just kept buying the ones I'm used to. They're $32 for 4 rolls of them. And I did put the link in for you guys to opt out as well in the chat, just as an FYI. That is there. All right. You guys might have to look this up. If you have to look it up, we'll pass you. They want to know what is the total worth of your active listings.
Ooh, I don't know. I have to go investigate.
I don't have a clue, and I don't even know how I would find that out.
So on the computer, if you click listings, it will tell you how many are listed, and it tells you the value.
Got it. I'm working on it right now.
You have to click on active. Click on active, and then when you go to active, it'll say manage your inventory, and then it could tell you right below that how many. I currently have 1,197 items on there. Well, actually, quantity of, because I have some quantity listings. So I have 1,296 items at a value of $84,794. Now that changes dramatically. Like back in January, I listed $26,000 worth of items on eBay. So I haven't been listing for the past week because I was traveling. I was up in Virginia, but I would say I'm between 85 and 95,000. I can never hit the 100,000 mark because every time I list a ton of stuff to try to get there, I sell a ton of stuff. So
mine are $271,000.
Mine's so much lower than y'all's.
I'm the smallest by far. I already know with the listings, I'm the smallest lister guy. I'm only at like 30K.
No, I'm only at $46,526.24.
Yeah. We got listing shame, Julian. Listing shame today.
That's okay. I'll take it.
It's okay.
I'll cry afterwards. Right now, I'm acting tough for everybody that's in here. But later on, right when everybody leaves, I'm going to start crying.
Yep.
Sure. I didn't even know that was a thing. Wait till I try to get that up over 100 grand. Now I have enough. Now I know what's going on.
So that was my goal when I went to full time. I wanted my inventory to be at over 100 grand when I went full time. So we've almost tripled it in 2 years. That's not too shabby. Rose wants to know, how long does it take for you to turn over your store's inventory? After what length of time do you typically consider donating items that haven't sold?
My store has a wide variety of items. Some sell fast, some sell slow. The ones that I sell slow, I try to make sure I get a really good price and a good ROI on. And then other items I buy, which I really try to buy most of, are items that are going to flip really fast. If you find something good that people want and you price it good, it can easily go just that day for a lot of items that are in high demand. And I have some things I've been reselling, man, probably like about 5 years now. I got some things from 4 years ago that aren't priced very high that I say I should just take them down or donate them. But every once in a while, one sells and they're already listed and they just sit in there. But I really would like to go through. I got quite a few items that I just like to donate, get rid of, trim down my store, get some more space back in my shelves to find items that are going to sell faster.
Yeah, this is a tough question for us because the thing is that I'm not very good at this. You know, like I've only been doing this for like 5 years, right? So I still have things from like 4 to 5 years ago that aren't that good that I have yet to go in and take the time to take them out and redonate them and stuff. Because again, what you just said is sometimes you'll get that when you'll be like, haha, I knew I was keeping that around for some reason. Honestly, it's probably not worth it though. I should probably go in there and do it and then make more space. But our entire like idea of selling on eBay has changed dramatically since like we're now on Whatnot and trying to figure out what to buy from that. And then just getting better at picking overall is like really helping us. Again, we started this bone stock not knowing a thing 5 years ago, and today is where we are. So it's kind of like one of those things that we evolve each year trying to figure out more things that will sell fast. So it's hard to answer how many. The store's inventory is still not completely cycled through since 5 years ago. I still got stuff probably hanging on. I got a spark plug I look at every day. If you ever watch my videos, it's in the first bin when I walk in. I had that spark plug for 5 years. It will never sell, but I'm going to keep it in that bin because guess what? 17 years from now, somebody might give me $2.99 free shipping for that thing. You know, now it's just in there for good. But yeah, it's just one of those things that it's not. I would like it to turn over quickly. But with better, like more years under my belt and getting better at picking stuff, that will eventually happen. Right now, we're still not there. We picked up stuff the other day. I just looked it up. It's worth nothing. Like I thought it was something and it wasn't. So it's just one of those things. Yeah.
But I would say even like for me, like I've been doing this since I was a teenager. Now I first started, going with my grandparents to the local flea market and then setting up with them and selling stuff back then. But like even though I've been doing this 25 years, like there's still stuff that I bought 2 years ago that is not worth it now. Like, cause the things change, what's hot then is not hot now. So, you always got to be cycling through your inventory, I would say. So now I'm on a 90-day cycle. If it doesn't sell within 90 days, I'm ending my listing, relisting it. I'm either lowering the price, changing the listing, seeing if I make any errors, what I can do to kind of change it because I want to have a faster sell-through rate with some of my items. Also, too, I'm actually going to be making a major haul in my business because over the last 6 months, or actually probably the last 9 months, I've really been doubling down on Whatnot. And, I did really, really well the fourth quarter last year and beginning of this year. So now when I go, like Julian said, when I go sourcing, like I'm sourcing two different ways. I'm sourcing for eBay. I'm sourcing for Whatnot because a lot of those items I once would source for that now, like a lot of the items now that I source for Whatnot, I never would have bought for eBay in the past. So now I source in two different ways, which is actually great because how many times you go to yard sales or garage sales or thrift stores and you walk out there with empty-handed or like, man, it's been a tough week and not getting a lot of items. Being able to sell on Whatnot and those other platforms allows me to take that inventory and move it faster or buy other inventory I normally wouldn't pick up. So I highly recommend. That's why we always talk about being able to diversify in different sites to sell stuff because, what you can't sell one way, you can sell another way. But for me, I'm actually going to go through my inventory. I'm going to remove a lot of items, start bundling items together, get a higher average sell-through price. But also, too, I talk about reducing my size of my store because I want to free up space and moving a lot of those items I have sitting in my store I bought 3 years ago or my death pile 2-3 years ago I never listed. I need to move that stuff out now. So,
hold on, I'm counting for a reason.
Well, that cat here count
Holy
for
Moses. Okay, so today on Knickknacks, I sold 46 items in 3 hours. $2,000 in sales. I'm very transparent about what I do. $2,000 in sales. I don't make as much money. Nowhere near. It might only be a 20% profit. Okay, because I start most items at what I pay or very close. So some of them I actually am net zero on. I was talking to LaDonna about it, Bayou Belle Ventiques, and we did get her scheduled finally. She is going to come on the show. We did get her scheduled. I talk about her all the time, so I asked her to come on. So I didn't expect, like, we almost sold out of paperweights that I was expecting some to go on eBay. So like one, I will tell you, was a signed one, sold for 100. It probably would sell for 200 on eBay. So it might be a reseller or a collector that got that. But I'm learning to be okay with making less faster and doing that volume. Today was a lot of small stuff, so it shouldn't be hard for her to ship tomorrow. It was a lot of jewelry and paperweights, so smaller breakables, which is nice. So I will be keeping an eye out for trinkets, for paperweights, for stuff like that, because I know people like them. Same thing Rod said, you know, kind of dual purpose, because paperweights live show so much better than in pictures. Like, you can show the iridescence, and yes, I could do a video on them for eBay, but for a $20 paperweight, I don't want to. It's just simply not worth the time. My inventory at the rate I am at now would take 26 months to sell through, 2 years. But I don't think that's a really feasible question, because like Mikey said, I have some stuff that'll sell in a day or a week, and then I have other stuff I know it's going to take a year to sell. You know, so I have a mix of fast and slow selling items. And if you're not always adding to it, those sales would go down, 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 because you wouldn't have activity. So your store would never turn over.
You also changed how you were sourcing, though, too, for a while, because for a while, all you did was high bid. It was nothing but high bid, high bid, high bid.
I'm doing a lot of that again. Yeah. I went on a shopping spree this weekend and spent a lot. So I'm still doing that. I really need to get pickier at the thrift stores, honestly, because a lot of what I find is clothes, and a lot of that is longer tail, because I'm not finding the good brands. And like I'm going to get up and show you guys too that I just got off a high bid auction. But yeah, that's like a super hard question, because theoretically, if you stop listing, your store is not going to turn over because you have no activity. All right. While you guys start answering this, I'm going to bring 3 amazing clothing pieces that I just got off a high bid auction. Timeless Rose Vintage wants to know, have you in the past or currently pulled an all-nighter? I'm assuming she means working. We'll assume
working, yeah, because I mean, who hasn't pulled an all-nighter? Speaking of pulling all-nighters, I stayed up until midnight the other night. Man, I was wrecked the next day for work and everything. I think the older you get, the more you got to go to bed at bedtime. I'm learning that. Words of wisdom. Working wise, eBay wise, an all-nighter, no, never. Sometimes I'll stay up late. More when I first started, I wouldn't mind staying up real late and listing and doing all that stuff, but I try to get most of that stuff done in the morning if I can. And yeah, but shout out to the night owls.
Yeah, the last time I stayed up all night would definitely be being the police and working night shift. And when I stopped being the police and working night shift, I said, I'm going to bed at a regular time. So we work this as like it is our job. Like, you know, I wake up at 6 a.m. A lot of times I start editing at a certain time, which is usually around 6:30. Depends what I'm doing. I might edit until 6 o'clock that night. It all depends on what that is. But a lot of times we close up shop. I mean, Kayla right now is working on some stuff and it's 9:30. So she'll usually be later than me, but like, man, around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, because I wake up at 6 and I work until that, and I don't have many breaks in between. I'm done. I'm done at like 9 o'clock. And we still handle comments, people on our website messaging us, emails and stuff like that. If there's stuff that we need to talk to people about, like sitting down watching a movie. But other than that, I'm not spending all night. I do that during the day like that. I use this like it is a job, and that's my hours, like 6 a.m. to around 9. And I just got to get the stuff done in that time frame from Monday through Saturday.
I have pulled an all-nighter for fun. I've also pulled an all-nighter for work. So I'll leave it at that. But no, I would say is during the Christmas time, I have pulled many Christmas seasons. Like the week or two before Christmas, where you're trying to get all the packages out and trying to get everything else done. I mean, I have slept 3-4 hours many nights, and then there's nights I've pretty much worked to the morning. especially if I'm going on like a trip or going on vacation or like have to get all this stuff done beforehand. Like, for example, like I just drove to Virginia, did a 100-mile sale, and I stayed up there with Kevin. Like, I was literally the night before editing videos. I was packaging up all my orders in the, trying to get everything done possible so that I can leave and have the peace of mind knowing that, my business will be fine by the time I get back. The only thing it sucks about is one thing they don't tell you when you become an entrepreneur and you go full time as a reseller. Like when you go on vacation and when you go do these things, you have to plan. When you step away from your business, you have to plan. And sometimes you have to put in those 12-hour, 15, 16, 18-hour, 20-hour days to make sure that your business is going to be secure when you can step away for vacation or step away to, to take care of something personal. So that's the only thing that's difficult sometimes. But yeah, I think everyone here has been close to it, I guess, at certain points in times in their career.
Yeah, and I have, but I'm with Mikey. I'm old. I'm going to bed. This is actually Tuesday is the latest I stay up now for the podcast. If we hadn't been doing 8 p.m. for 4 years, we would be on earlier. But I think it's just like a set thing. We've been doing it so long. I typically try to go to bed by 9 now. We're like Julian, we're getting up early. We go to the gym every morning now, me and my husband, after we drop Dalton at school. And I'm bad about I'm like always working, right? Like I might be sitting on the couch, chilling out, watching TV, but I'm answering your comments on YouTube, or I'm sending offers on eBay, or I'm mindlessly, sending out or listing drafts, things like that. But I'm sitting there hanging out with Dalton, watching TV. We were watching the baseball game earlier. But the nice thing is, like yesterday, I did I did something. I went and picked up this auction haul, which took us about an hour and a half. And then me and Dalton went to the ball game, So the nice thing is you can work all the time. But then if you have something you need to do or want to do, which is the case more often, then you can just go and pick back up. I'm bad. I would, like Rod's talking about getting the videos done. I've been saying this for years since Julian was on. And I think Julian, I said this all the time, like I would love to have like 3 or 4 videos in bank that are done where I'm not like, I have to edit. So I need to do what Julian does and take like a day, edit them all. That's really what I should do and batch them. I do batch record. I record like my nurse flipper videos all on Sunday. That way they're done. And because for me, I have employees that are in here through the week. So I can't come in here and record through the week unless I came out here at like 5 o'clock in the morning, because I have employees here from 8 till 6, Monday through Friday. So I only can record on the weekends. Like I have to kick. Oh, speaking of, I'm going to be on List Perfectly's podcast on Friday with Clara and Amanda. If you want to bookmark that. Marcia, can you find that link? I think they already scheduled it. I'm on the podcast with them. So I have to kick my employees out and be like, you got to go find something else to do somewhere else. Like I got to do a podcast. So it's hard. It's hard for me to even get in here unless it's late at night. A couple of times they've still been in here listing when I've started the podcast. He totally said all kinds of things, Kevin. You just totally missed it. And I had a celebration, but it's okay. It's okay. This is a good question, and it's kind of follow up to what we were just talking about. Do you like to do the same process every week, or would you rather wing it?
Ooh, I dream of doing the same process every week, but somehow I always find myself winging it. True story. So yeah, let me see if anyone else has a better answer.
It all depends on the time of year. Like right now, we're pretty calculated because Friday, Saturdays, we are yard sailing, and then I edit most of Monday and Tuesday. Sometimes it might take me an additional day if I have a whole bunch, because I'll try to pull a whole bunch of videos out of that. And then Kayla handles eBay listing and all that stuff. I might do the shipping when I'm done editing, but we're pretty process oriented on certain times a year. Right now, yard sales are hot. You're going to see a lot of yard sale videos on YouTube. And then we try to get that stuff listed. We have our website that is now up and running. So we are dealing a lot with that back and forth with people. When we don't have yard sales, that's when we step into storage units and thrift stores. And then you got to get video. Like, that's our thing, is like, we every other day, Kat knows, every other day, a 20-minute video, that takes a lot of time and effort. And
that's just one channel.
That's just one channel. Yeah. So it takes a lot of time videotaping and videoing and going out there, because you don't find, this every yard sale, you don't find stuff. So you have to continue on, just that it's like a relentless videotaping of yard sales and thrift stores and storage units. So we don't really wing a whole bunch. Like today we have the ability to like work stuff in. We were at a storage unit. We were doing something, but we had the ability to buy a storage unit. We can up and drop what we're doing to get the storage unit, if that makes sense. So we were clear for that day. All my stuff was ready. I have all my camera gear over here that was ready to go, because a lot of times if you guys are using certain SD cards, you have to have them cleared. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to run your SD cards out. We use 6 different SD cards, 3 different cameras. It's like the process there. So we don't really wing a whole bunch anymore. We stay pretty much on task, the best that we can. And then we have like ways to work things in. Like, if we need to get a storage unit, if we need a video, that's going to have to get done first. Like that's going to have to get done. We're going to work until we get a video, and getting a video also gets the inventory to then go home and list it. I'll start, editing, and then Kayla will start actually, listing that stuff on eBay or our website. And Kevin, I haven't forgotten that I did send you an SD card and I never got it back. One day I might come to Virginia and get it back from you.
Well, we all know the Commonwealth thief strikes again, but
I sent it to him in his defense. I did send it, and I never said I wanted it back, but I thought we were friends, Kevin.
Gotta be careful. He's a shiesty character. I went up there last year for the 100-mile sale. I left my sweatshirt in his truck, and he put it in his eBay pile to list on eBay.
Oh, I thought you said you start wearing it on one of his videos.
No. I'm a man size. He's a little boy size.
Like, yeah.
So that wouldn't work
He
out.
could tie it at the bottom, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, he could do like the little halter. Yeah.
But no. So for me, for a while, I used to just wing it. Like, I know I get my one. I had my pick and punch channel. I had to get a video done in that channel, and then I went to 2 videos a week. And now I started a second channel, flipping and punching, which I'm pretty much doing 2 videos on both channels. And I'm doing whatnot now, so I'm cross listing, and I do all my own shipping. So as I expand my business and keep growing, one thing that I realize is, and I had a long come to Jesus moment driving from Kevin's house back here, because that's like a 12-hour drive. I was thinking about what I need to change my business, go through everything, but I need to implement processes. I can't wing it anymore, because I will not be able to grow, and I will not be able to expand or move into other things I want to do with my business if I don't put more systems in place. I need to start batching videos. The week before I went to see Kevin, I started doing all kind of videos. My grandmother and my wife's grandmother both went in the hospital the same week. So they're both okay, but my wife had to take an emergency flight to Puerto Rico. My grandmother had a pacemaker put in. So like that kind of messed things up. Then I was planning to go up to visit Kevin up at the 100-mile sale. And I was trying to rush to get my videos. I had a bunch of orders come in. So like, I need to plan for situations that to happen, because in your business, you will get monkey wrenches get thrown at you. You got to be able to pivot and adapt. So by me putting in processes where I can batch listings, batch items, now I have a draft bank with 100 items in there, because I paid my mother-in-law to do some clothing listings for me now, because I hate clothing listings. So I'm implementing these different processes to my business, so that way I can expand going forward. So I would say, yes, you can wing it for a while, but if you want to grow and if you want to expand your business, you need to implement processes in your business, because you will not be able to function or be able to grow if you don't.
I'm like Mikey. I like to say I would, but like it goes to hell in a handbasket. And now that we're adding the live selling back in, like we've got to figure, I'm like super stressed out this week. And I mean like on edge, because I'm doing 4 live sales a week now between knickknacks and whatnot. So I'm back up to 4. And then trying to list on eBay. doing a video every day with every other day between the two channels. I have a video every day. So that's why I said I might try like Julian, because I go out and go thrifting and I record 4 videos in a day. So I theoretically could spend a day editing all my videos for the week. And that would be like a giant relief because I'd be free for 7 days from having to worry about that. I need to implement processes, and like it's changing in here because listen here, buddy.
I just watched this video. He said it was difficult, so don't listen to him. So now Prissy's helping me do the shop the sheds twice a week, and she lists the jewelry for knickknacks. So I'm also pulling my employees and resources for different things too. And I brought these clothes and I want to show you guys. So I want the chat to guess what you think on average I paid for these. I got them off of a high bid auction. So here's one. This is a Christian Dior sweater. Number 2, if you do not know this brand, you better learn it.
Biggie Smalls.
I've never found one of those.
That's the second one. I'm throwing them on the floor. Guess what the average I paid for these? It's not low, I will tell you that. Does anybody know who made this? This is the most valuable of the 3 pieces, by the way. Hold on. Where's the tag?
Pee Wee Herman, but that can't be right.
Vintage. Ooh. Look at the size.
That's
all right.
That's a nice jacket.
There were 10 pieces total. Those are just the best 3. Look, Mary, I'm going to just go ahead and tell you were head on. I spent $400 on this lot of clothes for 10 pieces. $40 average. Nice. You were right. But that Coogee, I think, is listed at like $275, and that Ralph Lauren's listed at $300. But that's an XXL, so that bigger size can I didn't look at the size on the one. Mikey, what'd you find? Do you have it? They're saying to show me.
Who? What?
What did you find?
Some Jinko jeans, possibly? I found some Jinko jeans recently.
Oh, really?
Man, I wore Jinko jeans back in high school. I should have just kept my clothes. That's what I should have done.
I found them in a storage unit. They looked like they were shot with a shotgun, and they had holes in them. They were women's. They had a big old hole in the butt. I listed them for $500 on eBay, and I should say you got to watch my video today to see how much they sold for. But since you're all friends with Kat, they sold for $250. I took an offer. I could have held out for more, but $250 lasted for a week. Nice. I found them in a storage unit. I was like, cha-ching.
That's pretty good.
That's awesome.
So,
That's
great. Oh, dude, these things were terrible condition, but for the right person, it's going to be perfect. And people love that kind of stuff. Just got to find the right buyer.
Chrissy's going to come in and yell at me. It looks like a tornado came through here.
Ryan from Rally Roots sold a pair for $500, and then he actually did a little short where he actually put on all like the clothes. He actually wore them and like rode like a skateboard. And he said that, what a 90s kid looks like. It's pretty funny.
Jesus is saying that David Byrne, he thinks, wore my jacket in a video. I'm writing this down because I will research that, and if he did, we will keyword spam that bad boy. And it's not keyword spam if he wore it. We can say as worn by, and because that's an old one. This auction house, man, Sandy might, and I do not ask me to tell you because I am not going to. I will tell you right now. Sandy told me about it, and I told them when I was picking up, I'm like, my friend might regret telling me about you guys because, yeah, they do monthly auctions. I'm like, oh boy. Brad told me that our bank account can't afford it. It's all high end. It is all high end stuff. They do not do any low dollar. It is all high end. All right. What is the easiest, fastest, Android friendly video editor for a beginner? If you use iPhone, you can pass.
Yeah, I'm an iPhone dude, so I can't help on this one.
Yep, I don't edit on my phone.
iPhone, pass the cat.
Why do you make me gotta come out of hiding? I use KineMaster. 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 I will tell you, in the beginning, no editing app is easy. That was the hardest thing for me to learn and overcome. Now it's like that. And there are plenty of how-to videos on YouTube about all of them. And I will tell you, each of us likes different apps. Like Carrie and Dave, I know Kevin only edits on his phone. I only edit on my phone. I use KineMaster. There was something else. So Dynamics Sasquatch, that's the same thing. I use KineMaster for editing my thrifting GoPro videos and my talking head videos. So I use it for everything. But
if you have an iPhone, you can use or MacBook, you can use iMovie. It's actually included, with your MacBook, and then you can download the app, and then you can literally drop stuff from iMovie, and it's super simple to use.
And people are putting names in the chat. You're going to find one you like for the way that you edit. Everybody's is going to be different. Find one that feels like halfway easy to use, and then go watch videos on it on YouTube would be my advice.
Also, too, there's a lot of software. Like, for example, like iMovie, you can move from iMovie to, oh my God, what is the Final Cut Pro? Like, so there is like upgraded versions that you can actually transition through for different things. DaVinci is a great one. I know a lot of people use DaVinci, and that's free. You can get that.
All right. Russell wants to know, can we go into what our weekends are like? Do you work all weekend or take time off? If you do take time off, are you still accepting and sending offers?
Well, I mean, really, I work every day just a little bit. My weekends on Saturday are typically hitting up yard sales. Sometimes my wife comes, sometimes she doesn't. After that, we try to enjoy an activity during the day. And then usually Saturday night, I'll be working. I'll be getting stuff ready for next week. I'll be editing some videos to try to get ahead of the game, or just try to get some listing just in my downtime. Sundays, I try not to work. I used to always work on Sundays, but Sundays, I really try to go out. I try to enjoy some more time with my wife and my dog. I try to go ride my bike, maybe go walk the strip, just something to try to take time off, because there's so much to do. And I always feel there's a lot to do and I could be doing something. So I almost just force myself to enjoy the day and not have to feel the pressure and the burn of work. But I definitely will do offers all day long. Any kind of questions, I'm always checking my app. So I'm working, but I try not to do too much at all. No listing, no editing, but I still do.
What's a day off? I haven't had one in a long time. Look at the bags under my eyes right now. No, I'm just kidding. No, weekends are our fast points. We don't work on Sunday. We do work on Sunday, but we go to church, and we're usually back by church. We spend the time with family and friends on Sunday, but usually we're back here by 4, and we ship everything out on Sundays. So Saturday is our Whatnot show on Saturdays now. We do every Saturday, unless we say otherwise. So we're shipping that stuff out on Sunday evening, plus all of the orders from that weekend. Saturdays are very busy for us. That's our, just think that's where you're doing yard sales. That's when you're doing Whatnot. If we do take a day off, which I usually do not unless I'm going somewhere, like going vacation, or not even vacation, like a work vacation, it's going to be during the week, like a random Wednesday where videos are caught up for the rest of the week. We might not have a whole bunch to list, and then we look at each other and say, hey, you want to go fishing? And then that's how, because everything's already done, but never during the weekend, because the weekends are, the church is going to be on Sunday, but Saturdays we wake up at 6 and we don't probably stop until 10 that night. But no, we're always constantly doing something. We get not yelled at, but a lot of people don't like the amount of time it takes us to write back an email. It takes us a while. We constantly try to email people back, do comments, and we do the best that we can, but we're constantly doing something. I don't think there's been a day in 5 years that I never looked at my phone unless I was sick. But even then, I probably did something on my phone. This year I was trying to get to where I at least took 1 day a week off, completely off in a month. That hasn't happened yet. I mean, that's how much we work. It's a constant, like you said, it's there's so much to do in so little time. So we do the best that we can.
So on my Saturdays are set for garage sales, and that would be my fun. I would do that if I was getting paid to do it, or if I was filming on YouTube, not filming on YouTube. If I was reselling, not reselling, I would go to yard sales every Saturday. It's what I love doing. I love the treasure hunt. So I don't consider that work, even though I'm out there working. Now I kind of have to go out because I need to get footage and stuff like that. My goal right now is to get a bunch of footage because community season. So maybe I can take off some Saturdays during the summer, because if you live in Florida, it's so hot during the summer and it's miserable going to yard sales. I bring 2 shirts with me because it's that bad. All right. But I mean, my schedule before, my wife just accepted a new RN job, but before that, my schedule actually revolved around my wife. So she works as a registered nurse. People get 6-7 days a week. So her schedule would change. Sometimes she'd be working weekends, sometimes not. So I would actually design my schedule every week around her and be able to, sometimes if she was off during the weekend, I would try to maybe go yard sale in the morning, get back early so I could spend time with her. That'd be our time to hang out and stuff like that. But if she's working Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to put in 12, 14-hour days because my Monday or Tuesday would be my Saturday, Sunday. It didn't really matter to me because I had the flexibility with my business.
I'm going to tell you what this weekend was like. It really depends. So this weekend, Saturday, we got up at 6. We went to Junk in the Trunk, which is like a giant yard sale. It's only once a month. So that's why each weekend is going to differ. So we went to Junk in the Trunk. We came home, and then about an hour and a half after I got home, I did Whatnot show. Last weekend, I was taking Dalton to birthday parties. The nice thing is we can kind of adapt, but I do a live show like Julian. I do a Whatnot show every Saturday, my Sterling Silver show. And then Sunday. And you guys know I love auctions. I had auctions ending from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I could not be away from the computer more than 5 minutes. It was all high-end stuff I had to watch. I was so sick of auctions by the end of Sunday. I've never been like that, but there was so much good high-end stuff. And I'll tell you, I was watching 154 lots. I won 24 and still spent $4,000. Couldn't afford to buy the 154 I was watching, but I had to watch them because a lot of people don't understand soft close, and they wait until the last minute and then they bid, and then it extends the bidding, and then they do it a second time, which really drives me crazy. So yeah, I basically, wait, hold on. Before the auction started ending, Honey the cat had to go to the vet at 8 a.m. to be neutered. And then my oldest son turned 25 on Sunday. So we took him to breakfast with my grandbaby and his wife and Dalton and Brad's niece. So we did cat to the vet, breakfast with the kids, and then for 8 hours I did auction. I only take time off, if we go out on the boat, I am not looking at the phone. That is a time, and I get signal. I look at it sometimes. I will go live on Instagram. But it's rare. It's rare. I know it sounds like I don't know a day that I have fully taken off. I'm going to send offers. I'm going to accept offers pretty much regardless because my phone's in my hand. Even if I'm having fun, my phone's in my hand. I'm not going to ignore an offer. But yeah. All right. Scott made it here with 3 minutes to spare. He really made it here with 9 minutes to spare in his defense. And he wants to know, Julian, did you see the vintage fishing lures that he sold?
No, I have to say no. As if it's on Instagram. I haven't been on Instagram in a long time, so
I hardly ever have time to scroll anything.
The Instagram has been falling really far behind in my life. So
I try, I'll forget, and then you guys will see me post 4 things. And I haven't posted in 9 days. I'm like, oh crap, I need to post some sales. It's lower on mine as well. But I have to say what Rod said too, though. The sourcing stuff is fun and I like it and I would do it anyways. So yeah, $1,000 from a 1 tackle box. Look
there
at
you
Scott
go. Wow. You wouldn't find about 100 of those tackle boxes.
I'm going to give Scott Rod, and then we're going to answer one last question. So here's Rod for Scott.
Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Until next time.
I have to say it's making me tired talking about how much I work. I have to say that. When you really like stop and think, you're like, oh yeah, you know, but I like it. So it doesn't feel like work. This week it has felt like work because, and I'll tell you guys when it's my exit turn, what I have going on the rest of the week. And it's only Tuesday. All right. Last question from Miss Lisa. How would you ship a 1980s felt LA Laker pennant? Would you roll it or lay it flat?
All right. You got to roll it. I'm going to go roll it and hope. Because last time I shipped something flat, it was a magazine, and apparently you're supposed to write "do not bend" on that type of stuff. Maybe the postman listens, maybe he doesn't, but it got smashed up. So I'm going to say roll it up and something loose, not too tight.
I actually don't know. I don't think I've ever sent one. That's such a long, flat package. You know what I'm saying? So maybe loosely roll it. If it starts to like do something weird, give them a refund and tell them it didn't work out. I'm going to say roll it. I'm going to roll it.
So I've sold a bunch of pennants before, and it depends on the material of the pennant. If it's one that's like solid, like cardboard almost, you have to ship it flat because you cannot roll it because it would damage and ruin the actual pennant. If it's one that's like felt, you can actually roll those up. You can actually put them in a shipping tube and ship it out and have no problems, or roll up, put it in a box. So it really comes down on the actual material. They actually sell, if it's a very expensive pennant, you can actually how cards have like cases you can stick it in. They actually have pennant cases. You can slide a pennant in it, puts a plastic outer cover on it. Yeah, and then put it in a box to ship out and stuff like that. But I would say, depending on how much the value of it is, just be careful.
So I have sold a lot. I haven't sold any recently, but like a lot of the older ones are like a soft felt, so it's not going to matter how you do it. But the stiff ones, like Rod was saying, I sandwiched in between cardboard and then I put in a poly because I didn't want them to get wet because I have like giant poly bags. So that's how I would do those. And value's gonna. So some of the stiffer ones I got were already wrinkled to days in, and that was in the pictures. If they were like that, I'm rolling them. You know, like it's not going to get any new creases that it doesn't already have. But if it's worth a lot, I'm gonna protect it. I didn't even know, like Rod said, that they have like things you can slide them in. I didn't even know that. Look, Kevin is shipping one, and he said he rolls it. He's shipping one right now.
Right as we speak.
Right as we speak. Let's let everybody be big, tell you what they've got going on, and then we will all go to bed. Kat, well, I'm like getting tired. That's why I'm talking like this. All right, here's Mikey.
All right, what do I got going on? Same old, same old. I'm headed to Goodwill's, having fun, talking to people. I got a recent storage unit with Biscuit Butt. He was a guest on here recently. And yeah, I'm just trying to have a good time, sell some things, and enjoy my life. Thanks for having me on. Perfect.
Here's Julian.
I just want to thank Kat and Rod for letting me back on. I thought Kat, everybody thought she kicked me off the show, but she didn't. It was she let me back on once or twice. The things I got going on is every other day on the Bearded Thrift Machine, and then every 3 days or every 4 days on the Flip Squad. Right now we're really hard into the yard sales, but we do have a couple storage unit things in the mix right now. And then also every other Saturday we have our Whatnot show. This Saturday, actually, we're not doing one, and we're going over to my dad's house because it's his first Whatnot. We actually set him up today. So yeah, he decided to get on Whatnot, so it was a treat today getting dad set up. But we're not doing our show. It'll be the same time, and it'll actually be at his house. He's going to do one.
Perfect. Rod, what you got going on?
Can we talk about what Julian has right there in the background? Congratulations on getting your plaque and hitting 100,000 subs. I see it sitting in the background, so that's his hard work, dedication, guys. Kat will be there sooner than later. But all right, so for me, I actually dropped a brand new video on my Picking and Punching channel today, so go check it out. You never know what you'll find at yard sales. I found something that's super cool, and it's not something you normally would find or ever thought I would find. I will be on Whatnot tomorrow night. I'm doing a Disney show. I'm blowing stuff out from pins, popcorn buckets, vintage items, brand new items. Everything's gonna be like $2-3 starting price. We're gonna blow it all out. I'm dropping a new video tomorrow on my Flipping and Pumpkin channel too, so go check it out, guys.
All right, I dropped a video on my Catch Treasure Hunting channel right before we went live, so that is out tomorrow. I'll have one on here I'm somewhere every day. Tomorrow, 6 p.m., every Wednesday at 6 p.m., I kick off the Knickknacks jewelry train. There are like 4 or 5 sellers in a row selling jewelry. We are going to have some really, really nice sterling and gemstones, and it's all starting at $15, earrings at $10, so lower starts on some higher end pieces. Thursday, I'm going to pick up more auction stuff. Because I need more stuff. And then Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be on List Perfectly's channel on the podcast with my good friends Clara and Amanda. And Friday morning, right before the podcast, we are doing Shop the Shed. I had to reschedule it because Thursday I have to go down south again. So I did reschedule my Shop the Shed to Thursday, which means I'm blocking Prissy's shipping shelf for 3 days. She's going to love me, including my craziness. And then Saturday at 3 p.m. is our sterling silver show, and that's the end. So if I get jewelry cheap, I pass it on to you guys. If it's worth $100, I paid $10, I'll start at $10. So the whole show is starting at $10 on Saturday. Really, really low starts, high value items. I will tell you the next show is going to be higher starts. I had to pay up for the next. So if you want low starts, this Saturday is your day, is what I'm saying. And they are not going to be low next Saturday. I appreciate Mikey and Julian coming back on, Rod for continuing to still come. And next week. Oh, and the Tampa Bay Rays won again. They've won 4 games in a row. Maybe me and Dalton being fans will get them out of the very bad rut they have been in. Next week we have Mel is on back from Burnout, and Sunny Las Vegas.
Nice.
If you guys don't know, Mel is from Australia, so she can tell you all about. She's actually one of the biggest. She actually is, I think, the biggest reseller on YouTube in Australia. So
really, that's pretty.
Yeah, she does mainly books, right? Still,
the books. Yep, bookseller.
Yeah, so we'll have Mel and Sunny next week. Thank you guys so much. We will see you next week. Bye, guys.